Welcome to this demo of Cloudpager on Citrix virtual apps and desktops. While this demo does not feature Citrix DaaS, Cloudpager does work great on DaaS too. It is a cloud-native application management platform for any Windows desktops. But let's dive into Cloudpager. You can see here I have several applications already uploaded and ready for deployment. The list of applications features AppV packages, Cloudpager containers, and MSIX containers. Deploying and managing new applications couldn't be easier. I could just drag and drop my files into Cloudpager. In this case, I'm dragging an AppV package, a Cloudpager container, and an MSIX container. As the applications are uploading, I am free to update the application information. No need to fill in the information and then upload a package. After I fill in my application information, such as application name, version, publisher, description, and an image, I click Publish, and then I get prompted to enter a comment. Actions taken within Cloudpager are tracked and can be audited, but we'll come back to this fact later. For now, I'm going to update the remaining application's information. And while you're seeing this, if you compare this process with other deployment tools you may have used in the past, you will realize how different the process is here. You can drag and drop multiple applications at once and fill in the information as they upload, rather than say, go in and create a new application, fill in the information for that application, maybe the application name, the publisher, the version, then move on in the wizard, restrict the operating systems it can work on, fill in more metadata, and then only at the final step of the wizard, upload the package and wait for that to complete. It may seem like a small difference of what you're seeing here, but in terms of the time saved, it is significant. Now, before I deploy any of my applications, I'd like to quickly show you my Citrix virtual desktop. So if I go to Citrix Storefront and I launch my desktop, you will see that this is a Windows 10 virtual desktop. And as you can see once I've logged in, there are no applications currently on this desktop. And if I open my Cloudpaging player, you can see there are no Cloudpaging containers available to me on this desktop at this time. Now, I only show you this because I want to demonstrate assigning applications and showing how quickly they appear at login. Now, Cloudpaging containers can be deployed in real time, even in an active user session, which I will show an example of soon, but we have had discussions with customers in the past who tried other products for managing applications on their non-persistent desktops and found them too slow for delivering applications on startup or login. Some have resorted to installing their applications into the image just to improve the performance and make sure the applications are there promptly for when the users log in. But with Cloudpager, you don't need to put those applications in the image, and you remove so many different complications by dynamically delivering the applications. But let's see how Cloudpager fares for delivering these applications at login. To do this, I'm going to create a work pod for my Citrix Windows 10 desktop users. A work pod is a group of applications. For this demo, I will add several applications, including the 3 apps that we just published. I'm going to publish this work pod to my CTX Win10 user group, which is in my Azure Active Directory. In this demonstration, my Citrix desktop is hybrid Azure Active Directory joined, and my groups are being synced to Azure Active Directory. This gives me all the great benefits of Azure Active Directory for my on-premises objects. And because Cloudpager integrates with Azure Active Directory, I am able to assign my work pods to users or groups that are being synced from my on-premises Active Directory domain to Azure Active Directory in this hybrid scenario, or I can assign them to groups that were created within Azure Active Directory natively. And when I publish this work pod, for the comment this time, I'm going to add a change number from my ITSM product of choice, as this is a production change for these users. With that work pod published, let's log into my desktop again. We can see almost instantly my new applications start appearing on my desktop. We should now see applications inside Cloudpaging Player. And if I go to my Start menu, we see my other applications appear here. I'll start by launching Firefox. You can see it launches very quickly, and if I browse, say to my own website, we see that indeed the browser works. All is well. Now I'll launch one of my AppV applications. Let's launch Putty. And we see that also launches quickly. Finally, I'm going to launch one of my cloud paging containers, in this case Inkscape 32-bit. And we'll see it launches, and if I check the about information, we see that it is currently version 0.92. Now I'm going to go ahead and launch Cloud Paging Player just so we could see the applications update in real time in just a moment. But by the way, you can set Player to be headerless, meaning users never have to see or interact with it if you don't want them to. Their applications can just appear without seeing Player, but for the sake of this demonstration, it will help to visualize our process here. So I'm going to go back to my work pod now. I will edit the work pod and choose to add an application. I'm going to add my version 1.1, which is my 64-bit Inkscape, and uncheck the currently deployed version 0.92. I will publish this work pod once again, and I'm going to enter a comment with the change number for this application update. We see here there's a revision history that contains a record of my changes, including the first time I published this work pod, and now that application update. And in the background, we can see in Cloud Paging Player, Inkscape has disappeared, and it has very quickly been replaced with the new version 1.1. And if I launch this version, we see it appears quite different to the other version. And the version shows 1.1. Now theoretically, let's say users, they do not like that launch experience, it's different, they don't want to use this version, or perhaps a certain file type that they've worked with in the past that is very important for their work no longer works in version 1.1. They simply need that old version back in order to get back to work. Well, as an administrator, you have the ability to go into Cloudpager. You can check out their revision history and review it and see what state the work pod was in for each version that's recorded in the history. And we can see that indeed that Inkscape application is different. And if I choose to roll back, it will highlight that one application is indeed different. And when I roll back, we can see the application on the desktop is rapidly rolled back for this user. How awesome is that? No messing around with application uninstalls, figuring out how to uninstall it silently. Does it need to be performed while the users are not on their desktops? Do you need to go into an image and update it and roll that back? All of that complexity is removed. It's as simple as just a few clicks. Now finally, I'd like to show you the awesome automated license policy enforcement capabilities in Cloudpager, which we could find under Policies. I have my Camtasia application, which I use every week, and I know as part of their license policy, each licensed user can only use the application on a maximum of 2 devices. Well, I can set that to be enforced in Cloudpager to make sure that I'm within the requirements of my policy. So if I then try to use it on a 3rd device, I will be unable to. You could do even more things like limiting the number of concurrent sessions for an application, allowing certain applications to work offline for your hybrid users who may have laptops and go offline for some time, and even limit the number of days an application can be used and accessed offline, and more. And all of the features you see today can be provided to administrators using role-based access. So say maybe you want your application packagers to be able to publish new applications and notify the team that these have been packaged, tested, and are ready to deploy. But then you have another team who are permitted to make production changes and deploy applications and manage those work pods. You can ensure only the teams who need that level of access are able to get that. And again, the product integrates with Azure Active Directory, so you can restrict that based off of Azure Active Directory groups. That's it for this demo. There's so much more that I could show you. And if you'd like to learn more and see a more comprehensive demo, contact us at Numecent. We'll be happy to show you.